Just like to introduce you to James McCarthy, and for NS1, he's going to talk about DNS redundancy. Please welcome James to the stage.
Thank you very much. Yeah, hello, my name is James McCarthy, as Perry said, and I am the Director of Solutions Engineering at NS1. NS1 are a DNS provider specializing in traffic management solutions. And today I'm going to talk about redundant DNS and whether there is a measurable trend towards it. So when I started to plan this talk back in December, it was nearing the first anniversary of a DDoS, not DDoS, that's something entirely different, attack against another DNS provider. The attack, which took place in October 2016, was notable because of the large impact it had across the internet. Many popular websites, services, I'm sure some of you were affected, and it was widely covered in the media as well. So since then, certainly from our perspective at NS1, there's been a renewed interest in redundant DNS configurations. So what I set out to answer was, is there an increase in redundant DNS configurations out there? And we're defining redundant DNS to mean any domain where a delegation appears to include multiple DNS deployments. So those could be self-hosted solutions plus third-party providers, or just multiple third-party providers, but usually two rather than more, but you know, there are multiple out there. So in order to measure this, I use the following method. I took a ranked list of domains, took the top 10,000 domains from each to see, you know, the busiest sites, and then checked the delegations for each of those domains. And then at a later date, I reran those delegation checks and compared the results between the two times. So to make things a little bit more interesting, I wanted to use different data sets. So I use Alexa, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's a ranked list of by site visits. Umbrella, which is a ranked list based upon the DNS queries to Cisco's Resolver network, which is very useful in our line of business. And Majestic, which ranks sites based upon how many links point to each individual site. So all look fairly similar at the top of those lists, but provide different data sets in a way to make things interesting. So I ran my first check of delegations back at the start of September, and the second one in the middle of November, so a difference of about 2 months and a half. Yeah, so one thing I want to highlight before I go on, there was a large number of domains using cloud DNS providers. So we're defining cloud DNS provider, it could be a service from a cloud computing company like AWS's V53, CDN like Cloudflare, providing their own DNS service to their customers, or a DNS specialist such as NS1. And as you can see from the slide, around half domains use cloud DNS providers for the Alexa and Umbrella lists, and around a third for the Majestic. I didn't go into why. I don't have enough time, unfortunately, so that remains a mystery. But in contrast, the percentage of those domains that use redundant DNS configurations is comparatively low. So only double digits for Alexa and Majestic, and single digits for Umbrella. So which brings you to the result. So over this 2.5 months, what was the actual change in the number of redundant DNS configurations that I could see in these 30,000 odd domains? So well, to my surprise, there were fewer domains in that period with redundant DNS configurations, which kind of scuppered the point of the talk, but let's move onwards bravely. So yeah, not what I expected, and even over a relatively small period of time, I thought there'd be some positive move. And there were some domains who had a redundancy, but obviously they were offset by the number who removed it. So I want to take a closer look at the 40 to 50 domains which had changed in this period to see what was going on. And I have a little break. So one thing I discovered that if I only looked at domain changes that involved cloud DNS providers, they were more often added than removed. So there was certainly a trend of adding a cloud DNS provider as a secondary to an existing service, whether that was self-hosted or a third party. So, it certainly replicates what I see in my day job. Furthermore, one of the interesting negative trends, as in the dropping of DNS redundancy, was because a company was adopting cloud DNS providers instead of two or more what I class as non-cloud services. So whatever they might be. So that was certainly a trend. So this could be seen as moving towards a more resilient service, not necessarily more redundant solution, but certainly part of like a wider trend I'm sure we're all familiar with of companies moving towards cloud services in general. So in summary, there does not seem to be a strong trend towards, or a trend at all in this wider data set towards redundant DNS. But if over time that might look different if we measured over a longer period of time. But there certainly was a trend of redundancy where cloud DNS providers were considered. And I think that trend would also continue if we ran over time. So that's it, short and sweet. Thanks very much. No, any questions? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed one. I mean, I'd say that I'm quite frankly shocked by that.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so
and because I would have really thought that people would be really going for.
And I don't know if it was just because it's over 2.5 months. Like it would be interesting to over longer, but yeah. There was a hand up. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but an opportunity for you, right? Yeah.
So in those data sets, depending on which one you looked at, there was some big standouts which aren't going to surprise anyone. Cloudflare was 20% of the Alexa list. AWS I think was about 15, but then actually when you look at the umbrella list, AWS was more apparent, which is not surprising from my experience as well. But I'm sure all of you those experiences as well. But yeah, so those were certainly taking up large portions, and of the movement, there was lots of movement towards AWS and Cloudflare and Akamai, and it's one obviously, but yeah, that's it.
Okay.